welcome to the LANCave where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Video games are cool.
Yeah, that's what we talk about here. We talk about video games, gaming news, nerd stuff, rant about life, what it's like to be a person playing video games and also being an adult, and I'd say functional adult for the most part.
Arguable.
Yeah. I think we're pretty functional. Yeah, I think we're pretty functional when it comes to gaming. We break up that stereotype. We talk about, like I said, the gaming news, talk about nerd news and that sort of thing. If there's something going on, like we talked about the Batman movie, Star Wars, we'll probably be talking about some Star Wars because that's what happens. Yeah, how have you been? What have you been? You've been playing some Elden Ring. What have you been doing?
It's the only thing I'm playing. I don't have time for anything else. It's I will say, so level 72 now.
10 levels
40, higher. 40, I think I want to say like 42, 43 hours into the game. I just passed a thing that I think probably could have been done like 20 or 30 levels ago if I was a good player. But what I am starting to see is some of the faults of the game. Still a great game. Still probably one of the best games ever. But I'm starting to see some repetitiveness. Like if you're looking at the screen right now, as far as the video goes, there's this boat-looking world boss that you can find. Well, I've found 2 or 3 of them now, and they don't do anything different. That you get like different items for killing them in the different areas. I beat 6 or 7 of these trees that have the same exact move set. I beat 2 or 3 of these cat statues that have the same move set with a couple of different differences. So in terms of the world side of things, there is some repetitive nature going on. Now, is that a problem necessarily? No, because I would say most people probably aren't ever going to see them all. It's because I am taking the attitude of I'm going to purposely try and stay 20 or 30 levels above where I'm supposed to. People might think that sounds like a lot. It's really not. When you level up, you literally get +1 to 1 stat. So just in case you weren't aware. So it's not like I'm like truly over leveled, but I'm trying to keep my stats in a above where the game thinks I should be, so that I can keep a level of not easiness, because it's still not easy. Even this last boss, where I'm definitely over leveled for it, it took me 3 times to beat it, because I still have to dodge. You still have to dodge, and you still have to potion at the right times, and I'm not the best at that, but I took it down, and I'm happy about that. So seeing the repetitiveness is like a thing where it's like, could they have fixed that and tried to maybe make the world maybe just a little bit smaller? Possibly. But on the flip side, there was like one of these tree bosses that I killed where it was stupidly easy, but I got like 70,000 more runes than I normally would, killing the exact same tree boss in the lesser world where I got like 6,000 runes. So you can keep bringing the same bosses at me and keep upping the amount of coinage that you give me for them. That's absolutely fine with me. But just like a little chink in the Elden Ring armor of maybe there are some things where like they got stretched thin and started reusing some stuff.
I mean, we're talking about I didn't look at the total number of bosses, but there are
There's 99 the last I checked.
Okay, I was gonna guess around 100, and let's say 12 or 20. We'll call 25 of those are like very story specific. I haven't seen those reused, but I've seen a lot of 120. Okay, so let's say 20 of those are very story specific and very unique. There's some reuse in there other than that, including, I don't know if you've done, I'll just say like the Tree Sentinel character model is reused at some point. And the other, the boss
beat that guy too.
Oh, you beat that guy? Okay. So that guy, obviously
I beat the first one. I didn't beat I don't know if I beat the
okay. I don't know if you did yet. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, it was definitely a different fight. I mean, they just used the same character model. I think that's what what you're kind of getting at. I don't know if I'd call it cutting corners, but kind of. When you have the same character model and some of the same attacks, when it comes to like the what is it? Actually, I think the ancestor. Sorry, the ancestor boss, ancestor spirit does like a kick from behind, like a horse kick. And and I can't remember if the tree spirit does that, but this boss did. So yeah, some bits of reuse, but I'm still really enjoying it. I definitely need to level because I'm taking considerably more times than you to beat a boss, and I think that I'm doing okay in my playthrough, but I'm dying too easily. Where the latest boss, are you cool if I show a boss on here that you may or may not have gone to, or do you want to go in the dark? Okay, so I'll be
if the audience cares, you can look away, just don't name it, I guess.
Yeah, this is a boss later on that most of the attacks did not one-shot me, but there is a specific attack or two that he does that is, if you don't dodge, you're dead, and that bothered me. And I think I now have 20 vigor.
Did you see how much it hit you for?
I didn't check. No.
You only have 20? Oh, okay.
I only have 20 vigor, so
I think I'm at 27 or 28.
Okay, so and see, that's where I'm like, I know I need to up my vigor as a melee character. I'm more in the fray than you are. Some people do the glass cannon thing. This character's obviously not a glass cannon, but yeah, I have to get closer up. And by the way, this was me summoning someone who was helping me, and that guy was kind of kiting him to the point where I was chasing a lot. But environmental stuff, staying away from that was a little irritating, but not too terrible. But sometimes there's a couple attacks that he does that one-shot me. So you see there, like I lost almost all my health with one hit. And I think that's the weaker of his hits. So definitely need to increase that. And I'm only level, I think right here, I think, what you said you're level, what, 62?
72.
I think that I'm 60 right now in this video, and I'm a little ahead of you. This guy is, if we want to call it like two main bosses.
You got up to the upper left yet?
Yeah, this is after the upper left. So okay. I've gone to the upper left. There's a boss there, and then they point you in a couple different directions. This is going to the plateau. It's one of the ways you can get to the plateau.
You took the lift?
I took the lift, yeah. So it's one of the ways you can do the lift. So I took it and got the Site of Grace. Then I'm going to go back and do the other thing that you and I were talking about. Again, not trying to spoil, but there's another way you can get up to the Atlas Plateau. I want to do it just to do it because I want to see it. Want to see where it drops me off.
Well,
yeah.
Right now I'm in the manor because I took that death route, which is a really like crazy concept, by the way. Like I obviously never would have figured this out, right? Like, so you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How you get there. So I won't explain everything again for spoilers' sake, but it's just totally like a Souls-like thing to me. How you get there. There's like 3 different places that you could probably jump off as you're riding down, but no, you're supposed to take it all the way down to the bottom. And then after that, you're going to fight, and you might be able to kill that thing, but it's supposed to kill you. And you're going to lose your runes doing it because you're not going to come back there.
Yeah, it's supposed to kill you in a specific way, yeah.
And so it's supposed to kill you. When it kills you, you wake up in another area. How crazy is that? What kind of crazy, cool mechanic is that? Now, the place where I'm now in is very dangerous.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that I'm about to fight something based on what I'm seeing, like people write on the ground. I'm like, oh, am I about to fight this thing? And I don't know if you know what you fight down there or not.
I don't.
Okay.
But I was going to ask, so you and I are both going, we're not going blind when it comes to our playthrough. But you and I, in the way that we're playing, we are kind of getting some hints or looking up like, hey, how do I do this to make sure we don't miss anything? So did you see the dialogue or hear the dialogue that told you how to do that? because there's an NPC that tells you or talks about it. Did you? I don't know if you ran into Patches and he describes.
I've only talked to him once.
Okay, so
when
Patches
you, like, find him the
describes
first
it.
time.
Okay, Patches is in the middle of was it Lumeria, whatever, the lake area. He's in the middle on one of the islands, and he describes it, and like he's like, yeah, I've heard that if this happens, then you basically straight up describes if you can get underneath the water well and let this thing capture you, you'll be thrown at the heart of the Erd trees, I think is how he describes it. So he doesn't straight up say the place that you're coming, but he's basically saying if you do this thing, you'll end up somewhere else. And there's a lot of little things like that that people missed. I missed some of them, and like there you go, like you missed it, which I think that's one of the reasons why some people are upset by the game. So that's not supposed to be planned. That's for later. That's for later. I think that's why some of the people have been like upset about some of the way that Elden Ring works. Is the way it's the same way that a lot of the Dark Souls games work. Is you may miss stuff. You may miss character arcs. You may miss lore, and in this case, like a little hidden way to do it that they did put in the game. Like, did you see the giant turtle? Did you find that dude?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the giant turtle tells you about the academy boss that you took down with the egg. Like he talks about that character and why she's doing what she's doing, and that if you're not talking to every NPC, you could miss that. You're still enjoying the game, but I think that's one of the things that I like about the Dark Souls games is you don't have to do everything to enjoy it. But there are things you can easily miss if you're not scouring like every single avenue. But yeah, I'm glad you're still enjoying it. I told you I'm probably gonna end up platinuming this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking the story, and yeah, it's cool stuff. And you had a cool battle that I missed. So even I'm going through like a list of stuff, but you battled with what's her face? Is it Nephil? I can't remember her name. Yeah, you had a battle.
I've been saying it. I've been calling Nephali.
Nephali. Like okay. I didn't have it in front of me, but yeah, I killed the boss before I had the dialogue with her, so I didn't get to do what you did. So it's even though I'm kind of following guides, I'm still missing some things. But yeah, it's a pretty good game.
She's one of the ones I haven't looked up, and I just happened to run into her, and I'm like, oh, you're cool. And then I looked up. There's 2 other quest lines that I've definitely like looked up.
Okay.
And then the annoying parts about those quest lines is like how much you have to progress the game to progress that quest line. And then I know that you can mess it up, or not mess it up, but like the quest line can be ended if you don't hit it at the right time. And not knowing where those characters are, that sometimes gets a little frustrating for me. So there's the dude from the beginning of the game, and I gotta soak a rag in something, and then like to get to that,
I'll give you a tip on that, by the way.
I'm not right there. I'm not there, I guess. I know a place to get it done. I know 2 places to get it done. I could go back to the beginning.
Yep. That's what
I just don't. I don't know if I can take that boss. I don't know how hard that boss is supposed to be.
Honestly, it was my first try. Going back there, it was my first try taking it down, so I don't think it'll be too bad for you. What is it? The 4 belfries.
Throw fireballs at it.
Yeah, basically. Throw fireballs at it and dodge like crazy when it does its like crazy choppy chop attack. I took it down. I'm pretty sure it was the second try. Second try on that. But yeah, that's the way to definitely do that quest. That one, I don't know if too many ways to botch that one, but there's a couple NPC quests that like, depending on how far you get, if you get to a certain spot, you can't go any further with another NPC. Like you have to progress their storyline forward and then like do another thing, because if you do it too soon, like you'll miss out on like a good amount of their stuff. Roger's quest is like that. But yeah, anyways, we talk about things other than Elden Ring. We're just both enjoying Elden Ring right now. And if you're not, I'd say check it out. Believe the hype. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
What I'm hoping is pretty good is that Hogwarts Legacy. What'd you think about the?
it looks good.
Yeah, yeah.
I impressed. I was not expecting to be impressed, and it was impressive. Though the thing that I wonder is it too good to be true? Like, they showed some gameplay. The gameplay looked fun. The combat looked fun. But was that just like the slice of pie that they were showing me? Is the combat actually going to be as fun as it looks? If it is, this game's like in the eights for sure. Yeah. Like talking 85, 86, 87, going to sell millions and millions of copies. It's probably already going to sell millions of copies anyway.
Yeah, it's ambitious as heck. I mean, in my opinion,
it was very surprising.
Yeah. I liked the combat. Hopefully, the combat is as good as it looks. The amount of, the story looks interesting. The character, the voice acting is good for what we've seen, but the amount of different things you can do really surprised me. Like, I thought I understood, okay, this is all the things that we're going to be doing in the game, and then they bring up like another aspect, like the room of requirements or other things that I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then oh, by the way, you'll be able, I think you build like a hut and you can like plant things, and I'm like, it's just like, oh wait, there's more. Oh wait, there's more. And I almost felt like that was almost too ambitious, because if it was a good, solid Hogwarts game with a good story, with good combat, that had like, oh, there's a potion mini game and there's a this and there's like, that would make sense. But it seemed like there's so much in here. It's so dense in the amounts of different things that they're tackling. I feel like it's almost too ambitious. It reminded me of Fable, when they talked about Fable and Fable 2 before those games came out, because we're that old. But like, those games, they promised the moon, and when you actually played the game, what you got was either it wasn't in the game, or it was a very truncated version of that. That's my fear on this. I think it looks good enough when it comes to graphics. I'm not going to nitpick the graphics on this. The overall game to me looked really great, and for a 20 plus minute or around 20 minute long like feature, I definitely was seeing like, this is not it's not CGI, like, this is all in game.
They showed enough like actual walking around.
Yeah, that I felt like I got a feel of what the game is going to look like and be like that they just showed totally cutscene. This is in engine. I can totally see that as I could have control of the character at that point. I'm gonna get it. This is it. Unless
I'm
the
still
reviews
waiting,
come out.
but
You're still waiting.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. Unless they show me a sweet steelbook, because that's all it takes.
Apparently, that's all it takes. Because when someone sends you a sweet steelbook link,
still waiting on my Strangers of Paradise Best Buy. I just got the shipping notification for it.
Yeah, same. I'm waiting for mine. Mine was a pickup at Best Buy, and they still don't have it there. So I'm guessing that they didn't get enough of them. So I was one of the ones that didn't get it, because I didn't get the ooh no, we're delayed, like we're still preparing it, until that morning. So I have a feeling that like they didn't get as many as they expected at that store. But I'm not playing the game. I'm busy playing Elden Ring. But I did install it just so it's ready if I decide to jump in and try some Strangers of Paradise. But
I feel like after this one, I'm gonna need like a little Souls cleanser.
Yeah,
I'll probably go. I think I have like Guardians of the Galaxy on deck.
That'd be fun.
So that's kind of what I was thinking whenever I'm finally done with this game. I also heard from the reviews today for Kirby, which Kirby actually reviewed pretty well. I think it's at like an 85, so good for Kirby. Probably going to be the highest selling Kirby of all time, which Kirby doesn't traditionally sell that well. I think the highest selling one right now is like 5 million, and I think it's going to beat that easy just by being on Switch. but apparently it has a tethered co-op. So probably not a fun co-op for like you and the wife per se, but in terms of a thing where it always focuses on Kirby and you got your little Tails sidekick going on. I thought maybe I get the kid, I slip the kid a little Joy-Con and put that in his hands, let him jump around as the little dude with the spear, and me be Kirby. So that might also be something in the near future. See if I can get him interested in playing with a peripheral as opposed to the touchscreen, because he plays a lot of touchscreen games right now, and he's actually pretty decent at some of them. He doesn't he does everything by memorization. He doesn't actually understand what he's doing. He's only 2, but he has a great memory for it. So if he remembers like I'm supposed to jump here, then he'll jump there or whatever. But in this case, what I saw is that like if the secondary character falls off, it just comes back to you next to Kirby, and so I could just play the game. And maybe he could just be sitting there playing, and if he gets bored, then I just disconnect it off and keep playing it. So I am now intending to buy it. That was what I was waiting on, was to kind of hear, is it easy co-op or not? And with that kind of easy co-op, then I'm interested.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully this is baby's first peripheral, as you said. Like, this is his jump into actually using a controller and seeing the motion and how that translates onto the character on screen. So that's really cool. Yeah, hopefully that's as easy as the reviews make it when it comes to his play. Yeah, that's cool. Speaking of Switch, you see that the Nintendo Switch now allows for folders, groups, as it calls.
But in the most Nintendo way possible. Where you can't put the folder on the main screen. So one, it takes them forever to do folders, which they had folders on the DS. Like if you look, I don't know if you have looked at the DS recently, but you can like zoom out, put everything on folders, put the folders exactly at like
my
the
Vita's
front
got them,
or the back. The Vita has folders, and so it takes forever for the Switch to have folders, and then they stick it to where you have to slide all the way to the right. I know you can like just quick get to the right to do that, but cool that it has it at the same time. Why not just let me put it at the front? Or where I want.
I did hear some people saying like that they thought the decision may have been to reduce the start time, so the actual startup for the Switch to getting into going from a in standby mode to playing. But to me, I think you can get around that by just having a little groups. Like you don't even have to have all the groups. Like if you say I want to have groups, putting the groups into its own folder, you click on that from the start screen and it brings you here. That would save you like 2 or 3 steps. So anything in there, and if you were playing anything in there that's just on your recent screen, that would fix it. But yeah, you're right. It's the Nintendo way of doing it. Wait 5 years and do it in a clunky way that more people will not use than will use. Yeah.
No, I just hear like a ding.
Yeah, it was me. That was me. I usually my do not disturb schedule didn't kick on. I've got a do not disturb schedule. Yeah, it was me. I've got a schedule on my phone that's supposed to hit on do not disturb, and apparently it didn't. So apologies. But most Nintendo way of doing this. And then also, speaking of Nintendo ways of doing things, Nintendo's Wii and DSi shops have been shut down. That's pretty old, I know, but even if you had purchased something, you cannot re-download a game that you've previously purchased on the Wii at this time. We knew that it's an inevitability at some point. I mean, this is 2 generations back. This is Nintendo's first storefront that they had, first digital storefront. Memory serves me correctly. It's
aside from Steam.
So I feel like part of it's an inevitability, and I think the irritants out of most people on this is you lose access to games that you purchased digitally. So if you didn't download them, you can't re-download them, and there isn't a way currently to get in here and like purchase Like if I want to purchase those games on my Switch, I can't right now. Robert in the comments, physical media for the win. Yeah. If you purchased something digitally and you didn't download, you're out of luck. And if it was, if this was Xbox, right? Which I think Xbox has already technically done this, but if Nintendo allowed you to grab these games easily on the Switch, then I don't think this would be as big of a problem. But you know, it's a problem because Nintendo is shutting off access to not only something you bought, but something you can't buy on their new platform. So it's not even like pay me again for it. It's we want you on a subscription model, and we'll let you know if you can play that game on the Netflix of gaming that we have. So that's annoying to me.
I would definitely say like Microsoft is, you know, I mean, I understand like PC players are like, you know, because they haven't had to deal with this in forever, and that's because a system like Steam has been around. But like aside from Steam, like there's times where I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily want to buy something on GOG or on Epic Game Store necessarily, because you don't know if those are around. I think Steam has like earned that clout to where you just expect Steam to exist in perpetuity. But whenever it comes to something like the Xbox, though, you know, this is supposedly that generation. They've put, especially Microsoft, has put a lot into getting everything that's as backward compatible as they can. And theoretically, that means that now they've gotten their entire Xbox list, they've gotten their entire 360 list, I think. And those games are now those games, and there's not going to be any more. And then Xbox One is fully on Series, so they're at least showing all the signs that they are now, you know, they know that this is necessary if they want to have this, because they definitely are anti-physical media. Like Xbox physical sales are like nothing. Nobody cares. Xbox fans don't care. Like they care about the cool consoles. Like people get the cool looking like Series X. Like that Halo Series X is dope. I wanted it. I almost was like, I'll trade my Xbox in. I considered doing it, taking like a $60 or $70 loss just to have the cooler looking Xbox. One that would actually like get displayed on my shelf maybe. But you know, PlayStation and Switch definitely have something different going for it, in terms of they clearly show, and the things like, I know Best Buy is the one doing it as opposed to Sony, but Best Buy has to probably pay something to get that ability to manufacture those steelbooks. But I'm ordering a lot more games from Best Buy because they give me a little something extra, and I have the disc. But you're also seeing things like Halo did have a steelbook, but that disc has nothing on it. It's a license. You have to download the game from, it doesn't even have the install file on the disc, and that's really annoying. Which is what
PC, like I haven't bought a PC game in forever, but the last time that I bought a PC game, that's what it ended up. It ended up being a Steam code inside the box. So I was buying a box, and it didn't even have a disc in the box, because PCs moved past that. Sorry, real quick, because you mentioned cool Xbox stuff, and this is a quick aside because I didn't put this in our stuff, but did you see this? Did you see the Sonic limited edition, or what is it? No, it's a contest that you can win to get this Sonic Series S and these fuzzy controllers.
No, did you see? I didn't even see the fuzzy controllers.
These are the fuzzy Xbox controllers. I'm gonna zoom in because this is some 70s shag carpet stuff right here. So these are literally hairy controllers of Sonic and Knuckles. Literally hairy controllers. I'm gonna enter into it.
It's funny.
It's funny. I'm never gonna. If I want it, I would never use it. It's ridiculous. I don't know who thought this would be a good idea, but it's definitely a funny collector's item.
It's funny if you can get it on the wall. Like that's a cool thing to just be like. And then people are like, "What the heck is that? Like, do you have like some kind of weird Furby up there?" Like, no, it's a controller.
It's a controller. That's
you never had a furry controller before? It's wrong.
Dude, it's so soft. You know, other controllers are just so abrasive in your hands. I mean, I was already gonna see the movie at some point. I don't necessarily know if I'm gonna go see it in theaters, but I'm gonna enter into. I'm gonna have to look and see how I enter into the contest, because if I have to see the movie in theaters, I may do that just to enter into the contest, because that's ridiculous. And I only want it just to have it. Like, I don't I don't want to use it, but that's selfish of me. But oh well. Oh, so did you see that PlayStation outage earlier today?
I did. I think I'm the one that like called it out, but you actually experienced it because you get some of your gaming done in the morning, and of course we have our consoles turned on to the thing where it updates overnight. So it's not like I had any option to turn it down or not. So, but by the time I checked it out during my lunch break, I didn't have any problems getting online. Yep. So between those hours, but it is weird when you see like an update just totally break it.
And thankfully it fixed. They fixed it very quickly, and out of all the times that you could have that break, this definitely wasn't at peak. I mean, so I wake up and I play. I get maybe half an hour in before work, and I couldn't connect at all, obviously, but usually during that time, it's really rare, if at all, that I can get anyone to summon anyone, because there aren't as many people playing, so there aren't as many summoning signs. So it's not like I relied on that time frame to play. So what I mean is, out of any time for them to break themselves, this was the time to do it early morning and fix it by afternoon, because by the time the UK and those people are in their afternoon, evening, or whatever, it was already fixed for them. So if they experienced it, I don't know if this was regional. I didn't see, or I saw some people saying that it worked fine on there, but I don't know. I may have missed that. But long story short, at least it was brief. But I will say, I have a pet peeve when I see an error message. When I see an error message that makes it seem like it's not their fault and it's your fault. This error message wasn't bad, but it was kind of worded where it's like, hey, I can't connect to the PlayStation Network. Make sure you're connected to online, and then retry. That wasn't that bad, but sometimes it's straight up, your internet, I can't connect to the internet, and it's like, no, you can connect to the internet. Some of the error phrasing I get irritated by. This one, like I said, wasn't bad, but sometimes they're basically like blaming your internet connection. Like, your internet connection's not fast enough. Yes, it is. It's like there's something going on in between. But yeah, it didn't knock me down too far or anything. So yeah, could be worse.
It's not like the outage of like 07 or whatever it was. 07?
07 or
it's been a long time.
Yeah, 07 or 08. I can't remember when that was, because that was, I think, 2 days or more, if I'm not mistaken. But for gamers, that's a ridiculous amount of time, and that's before streaming was near as prominent as it is now. Can you imagine streamers not being able to stream their multiplayer games? That would not be so good. Yeah. What'd you think about Suicide Squad delay?
This game's not gonna be good, but that's fine. I have no hope for this game. It's a thing of it's gotten delayed for the last 2 years, and that doesn't. I'm not telling anybody to release the game. That's not what I mean by that. It's just, if you have that kind of development cycle, I have a hard time thinking it's going to be anything better than average. So I think it's got, sevens all over it, and I think that that's probably still going to be a fun time because it's the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's funny that the Rocksteady game is the one that I'm not looking forward to, and the Gotham Knights game is the one that I am looking forward to. Out of the two of those,
that one does look fun. I'm still waiting for it to come out. Wait, which one are you talking about again? Sorry.
Gotham Knights. So the multiplayer.
That's not Rocksteady.
No. This is Rocksteady.
This is right. Okay.
This is
Sorry.
Rocksteady. I'm saying the company I would expect like to really want before I even saw it, I would have guessed that this is the game that I would be wanting to play, and it's not, is what I meant. Sorry. I'm actually leaning towards the game that's not being made by Rocksteady. I can't remember who's doing Gotham Knights.
I'd want to say WB.
It's not Montreal. Yeah, it is Montreal. Okay.
Hey.
So WB Montreal. Yeah, it's not the developer that I expected to be. If I was rooting for one of those two, or if I was anticipating one of those games from one of those developers, I didn't expect it to be WB Montreal. No offense to WB Montreal, but I would have expected Rocksteady to be the one that I'd be wanting. I'm still looking forward to it. Gotham Knights, by the way, comes out October 25th this year. So at least supposedly. Yeah. So that may delay it. So maybe I'll play both. Maybe I'll play Gotham Knights, and then I'll jump into this, depending on how the rest of my my backlog is.
Honestly, around then, as long as I'm not still playing Elden Ring, I'll probably be done by then. I'm most assuredly be done. There's no way I can make this last. Like, we're going on like a month now, and you can tell where my gaming's at because like I'm only 40 something hours in, whereas like a 40 hour, like for example, I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake in 50 hours, and that was like inside of like 2 weeks, and so my game time has obviously gone considerably down. But around August, I don't think we put that one in here, but I sent you the gameplay vid for Forspoken. That game
I should have put that in.
Looks dope. That game looks fun to play. I don't know what's going on with the story necessarily, but if the combat, it's one of those things where if it plays as good as it looks like it plays, Forspoken's going to be a fun time. And somebody made a point about the story where they're like, is this like connected to the story at all? Like what's going on, or is it literally just a thing that's like fun to play? And I came up with the point today. I was like, if Elden Ring's taught me anything in the last month, story isn't the most important thing. There's some lore going on in Elden Ring. Like there is this story that you can uncover, but like I don't know what it is. I have no idea what's going on in Elden Ring. I cared about like that one little story quest that I found, and I care about like what's going on with Nefali just because she's a bad bee. But overall, I really don't care about taking the Elden Ring. Like that's not important to me. I'm just exploring and playing the game. So Forspoken was another game where you just run around and play and fight stuff. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring has just enough. The gameplay is good enough that they can really slow roll you when it comes to story, and you have just enough to kind of keep you interested and keep you curious about what's going on. I think that Forspoken is probably going to have more story to it, but yeah, I don't know how much is going to be connected to how much of what you're playing is organically connected to the story that they're telling. That's kind of a question, because Elden Ring, it does all kind of make sense in regards to like, there's all of these enemies make sense to be in this academy that are all magic users, that kind of thing. So hopefully, Forspoken's not too disjointed on that. I thought I downloaded a video, but I didn't.
It's all good.
I'm probably going to be playing that game though. That's you said November?
I think it got delayed to October. I want to say like 11.
Okay.
October 11th.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've downloaded the video now, so I can pop it on here if we want. But I think that I think that's a game I was going to play as soon as they showed the first trailer, and I could see the mix of it coming from your protagonist being being from like from our world, if you will, and being transported in there, and the whole Kid in King Arthur's Court like aspect to it. I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Like, I will enjoy that fish out of water tale. Yeah. So I was probably going to play it anyways.
I like the traversal aspect of it too. It reminds me a lot of Infamous whenever I look at it. So like that superhero aspect. And then this is the team that I know a lot of people really don't like this game, but I enjoyed this game quite a bit. It's not like my favorite game in the world, but this is the team. This is their second game. Their first game was Final Fantasy 15, and so that's where another like thing of like, is the story going to be great? But I will say that according to what we saw with the Royal Edition of Final Fantasy 15, they did end up piecing together like some story action in there. So hopefully they just kind of do that right from the beginning. But I know that they can deliver on how cool a world can look, and in this case, a totally different way of traversing. Like in that one, you had a car that you drove around, and like that car was fun just to roll around with the boys. But this one, you're like zipping and zooming around, like kind of like an on the ground Spider-Man. So lots of reasons to be excited about that game after seeing it some more. And I'm glad, one of those few times where I'm glad it got delayed, because originally it was supposed to come out in May, and I'm too full on on stuff right now. I have like 3 or 4 games just waiting in the awning to awning waiting the offing
awning
waiting.
Yeah, double check that
in
the wings
offing. I'm within the area of the sea known as the offing, at a considerable distance from land, but visible from the shore. The offing. So does the offing. F's.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned something there, kids.
Yeah, I was thinking the wings, like the in the theater, waiting in the wings, the theater of in the stage. But I'm in a similar situation, because we're both deep into Elden Ring. I imagine you're gonna end up beating it unless I don't know, unless you get really tired of it. I'm probably gonna.
It really would take like a boss that upsets me, like, because I know that some people were saying you can level all you want, and there's still some bosses that still can one-shot you. And so that kind of depends. But I am going to be using summons the whole way, as long as the game lets me. I haven't beaten anything where I summoned friends to do it. I am trying to beat it like quote solo, but with the tools that the game gets me. But if I came across that, then I probably would.
Okay, I have been summoning. I've been summoning randos to come help, because I don't mind.
You don't have FP either, so.
I don't have. I have some. I think I've got 77 FP. I think is my.
That's enough for one of the dudes.
I'm using one the big. I forgot his name. It's a big summon with arrows. I can't remember the guy's.
You get him from the underground?
Yeah. He's been great. I boosted him, but my choices basically are anything under. I'm not going to put a bunch of points into it, so basically under 80 or 85 is what I'm looking at. And thankfully, when you level them up, they don't use more FP. But I summon people to help me, because my summons aren't as strong. And I get hit a little harder, so gotta bring them in sometimes. We had one more bit to talk. Sorry, were you gonna say something? Oh, okay. I was saying we had one more little bit of news that just came in. New Witcher game announced. They didn't say Witcher 4. They just said the next Witcher game. They didn't say Witcher 4. I just want to point that out, because people are saying, "Oh, Witcher 4 announced." We don't know if it's necessarily Witcher 4, but they did say a new saga begins, which leads me to believe it is Witcher 4 or a new. It's not attached to Witcher 3, and this is going to be an Unreal 5, so I'm happy about that. Unreal 5, right? Yeah, so happy about that. I just wanted to preface it, be like, I'm not going to say Witcher 4. It's the new Witcher game.
No, I think they start using colons. I think that numbers kind of traps you into this thing. I think some franchises get away with it, like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, like Ys, like a lot of these old school RPG franchises. Fallout, probably still doing it, even though they came out with a couple of kind of off number ones, with like 76 as the online one. But based on what I read of the assumptions, first of all, I don't know anything about The Witcher. I don't care about The Witcher. I tried to play The Witcher 3 and it annoyed me, so they would have to make some drastic changes for me to not to get into this one. But based on this little image, apparently Geralt is from the school of the wolf, and this is not a wolf. It is a cat-looking thing.
Okay.
So there are other schools in the lore, and so this could imply that with the new saga begins that we get a new character from a different school of whatever. So if it is like a cat-like creature, it says the school of the lynx is therefore a brand new school. So I guess it's a lynx, according to it. I would have just gone with cat, but
yeah,
if it's specifically a lynx. So that tells me it's not Geralt, and that's the other reason for it, I would say, not to be The Witcher 4. It's probably going to be like The Witcher whatever, and who knows how many people that comes out in like a Fins. Do you get to make your own character? Are they going to pick a named character that exists? That'll be interesting as well.
That's a heck of a gamble. I mean, it could 100% work. I mean, we're sitting here, talking about, oh, well, that's different. Or you pick a different character. Do you make your own character? And we've seen with IPs like Star Wars, you can have a successful game or a successful story. You don't have to have a character. You don't have to have it be a Skywalker or one of our characters we already know from the previous series or the books. It could be something completely different, or it could be, I don't know. It could be something where, like, I don't know if they didn't say that it's a new. They said that it has to do with that school, but they didn't say new character outright, did they? Because it could be like a. I don't know.
I mean, then they just have the new
new saga.
The new saga thing, right?
Yeah, we're speculating, but it could also be like maybe it's a new character and you work you play alongside Geralt. Is it Geralt or Geralt? Geralt, right?
I don't know. I didn't watch. I watched like 2 episodes of the show.
So. I watched like 3.
Geralt? Is it a hard G?
Hard G or soft G? Yeah, I don't remember. I liked what I saw of the show. I need to watch the rest of it. Oh, sorry. Actually, I finished the first season. Second season, I've watched a couple episodes. I'll say, especially the second season, there's some really good effects that they did in there that really surprised me in the practical effects that then they blend with CGI, which is really cool to see, like the 2 of those. Yeah, it's a series that it's been hard. I've tried to read the books, I've tried to play the games, and it hasn't clicked for me yet. I have liked the series, but it hasn't clicked for me like it's clicked for other people. Not as bad as Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time, I've not been able to get into. I've tried.
Watch the first episode.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I've tried to read the books repeatedly. I don't know why it's been hard for me to get into, and I was hoping the Amazon series would get me into it. But I definitely like The Witcher. It'll be interesting to see what this other, what this other saga is. And I'll be honest, I did look up because I've had trouble getting into some of the gameplay aspects of Witcher because I like the story from what I've seen. I've literally looked up to see are there mods to the combat that make it more like a Dark Souls game, and there are some that have changed some of the combat, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I'll
stuff on my map.
That's probably going to stay there. I was thinking more of can I adjust the combat to be a little bit less to me it didn't feel as natural. I always felt stilted, and the Souls games have in my opinion more natural combat systems where I feel like I hit the button and I swung. Yeah, sometimes weapons take a little bit longer to swing, but I didn't feel
in some cases it's oversensitive, to be honest, because where things that I haven't gotten used to still this many hours in is hard. If you hit that button twice, your character is going to swing twice, and that can be tough. It'll register both inputs before you do it, so I'll really only be trying to hit once, but since I haven't swung yet, I hit the button again to try and swing again, to try and swing the first time, but then that registers both inputs, swings twice, and then even though I know the enemy's attack pattern, I get hit because I didn't mean to hit it twice. I really wanted to just swing once, but like my character didn't react the way that I thought. So like there's times where that sensitivity is like kind of off because you're like, I just wanted to swing the once, but you didn't swing the once, but now you swung twice.
Yeah, I haven't had that. Well, okay, I haven't had it in that swinging case, but I did have where I tapped my L2. I hit L2 because I wanted to do my Ashes of War, and then I was like, oh no, and I tried to dodge, and it basically had queued up my Ashes attack, which caused me to like slow swing up to the Ashes of War attack and then die. So yeah, I've had similar scenarios on that. It feels like it's like stacking up my attacks, and sometimes it doesn't cancel dodging. I thought dodging would cancel out what it thought I was going to do next, but it didn't. So I was in the middle of a swing, hit L2, and then was like, oh no, I need to dodge. Before I started my animation, I was dodging, but it was like, no, we're doing this first. That did kind of bother me. Yeah. Still a good game though. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see when the next Witcher game ends up coming out. I mean, I'm gonna guess this is gonna be a while. I don't know. I don't think that I don't know if they've been working on this, because I thought CD Projekt Red was working on something that was non-Witcher, non-Cyberpunk, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's,
I mean, they just did like Cyberpunk, so it's like hard not to go back to the well. What made you rich to begin with?
That's true. It's gonna make them money, and I'm curious, because I know that the guy who wrote the stories, like, I don't know if you know about this, like he sold the rights to it for like $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever. He's since
peanuts.
Yeah, but and the law in that country is like, if you've made a considerable amount more profit than expected, then you can basically renegotiate in post. That's what he did. So he's been paid out from CD Projekt Red. So my guess is that that's going to take into effect the use for this next game as well.
Apparently he's a grumpy dude too.
Oh yeah, I mean, how old is he? He's I was gonna guess around George R.R. Martin's age is what I was gonna guess, because I think the Witcher books came out in like the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. Never been my thing. I don't read a lot of fantasy books. I play fantasy games and stuff, but I read Dragonlance as a kid and really enjoyed it, and I read The Hobbit and didn't like Lord of the Rings. And then after I didn't like Lord of the Rings, I was kind of like, fantasy may not be completely for me, but there's still some stuff out there that's good. Name of the Wind, I read the first book, loved it. Wheel of Time is just kind of daunting. I've never even attempted to try and read the books. There's 10 of them, I know that much, and it's like, do I want to commit to reading that 15? Many books? How many books are
there? Might be more now. I know that dude just banked off the highest grossing Kickstarter of all time. I don't know if you heard about that.
Brent Sanderson.
And good for him.
I saw
that's a self-publishing thing where that's a lot of money.
Books, by the way. 14 books. Sanderson wrote the last 3. Complete. So he completed the last 3 off of notes. Sanderson. I mean, some people didn't like that he did a Kickstarter for his book, but it's self-publishing. He could have shopped that around, but he wanted to do it as he didn't want to do it through the publisher, I guess. Someone of that fame, it's it's kind of like, I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think it's like Kim Kardashian's hairdresser or something, like needed brain surgery recently. I don't know if you heard about that. She put up like a GoFundMe or something for her brain surgery, and like people are like, well, like Kim could have paid it, or like I think Kim gave some money, but like you're thinking, I guess it wouldn't be that bad. It would have been more like, I don't know, Steven Spielberg saying, I'm going to do my next movie and I want to crowdfund the next movie. Like, you've got money. Like, you can get that money either from yourself or from someone, from other people that you know. You don't have to beg. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. the thing that he works with Tor, which is a huge publisher, and he even said afterwards, because I said from that Kickstarter, I'm like, I would never publish it. I would never use Tor again if I was him. If I can make this much money, publish it myself, work with a printer, and keep more of my money, I would do it. But he says that he has a good relationship with Tor. This was just like a separate project that he kind of did on his own during COVID and stuff. I can't hate on it. For like, how often do you hear about, like, other than, you hear about like your Rowlings every once in a while, but like, how often do you hear of like an author banking this much? Like, writers don't, like, they make some money, but they don't, they're, these aren't the richest cats in the world. I'm sure he at this point is decently wealthy because he has some very successful novels and stuff, but like, I can't hate on a dude who was just like, I'm gonna try this, if it works, cool. And it worked, whatever, because he has a really good relationship with his fans. The thing that I've always, like, I don't read his stuff, but the thing that I've always credited him for, like, you can go right on his website and you can see the progress of his books. There's progress bars for the dude's books. How dope is that? Where it's like, this is where this book at. Like, you can go right now. He has 4 books listed on here. 2 of them are 100%. The next Stormlight book, which is one of his biggest series, draft 1.0, 3%. So he just started that book. Like, you can actually just see where he's at. Who does that? Nobody does that. That's dope.
He tracks, like, and he does, he's very open about writing, and a lot of writers aren't open about the process. They're not open about how they do it. Stephen King, he talks about his process. His process is different. So Sanderson does plot out what he's going to do, where Stephen King is what we call a pantser, so he writes by the seat of his pants. But Stephen King, like, wakes up and, like, bangs out, I think he says, like, 6 to 8 pages in the morning, because he's like, this is my job. I wake up, I knock out this many pages, and he's like, and then I got the rest of the afternoon and evening to do whatever I want. If I need to, get the oil change or go to a doctor's appointment, you're like, this man works a 4-hour day, but his 4 hours is knocking out content, where you got other people who, they have a different process. Sanderson and King both view it as, this is my work. I need to be sitting and actually completing my work, as opposed to more of like a, meandering thing. Like, oh, by the way, George R.R. Martin announced a new book. I don't know if did you hear about this? It's not Winds of Winter. It's a prequel. It's a prequel to the new Targaryen series that's coming out. So, which he had said he was going to be doing a Targaryen series. So he's not working on the ending and the last 2 Game of Thrones books, Song of Ice and Fire, the overall story. When he could have been working on that, he was working on this other thing, and that's irritating to me.
I know he did also write on his blog about addressing the thing about his initials in the game. I didn't read the blog post, but you can look that up if you. I
heard it wasn't on purpose, is what I heard. So the and I think I did I mentioned this in like a polo to you as well. Like the last names in Elden Ring, the last names a lot of the characters deal with their lineage. So like Godric and Godfrey, which are actually names that have been used by Miyazaki before. Like the first initial will like kind of tell you who their family, who they're from a lineage standpoint. And I think that's why there's all these G characters and these R characters. So I think that's why a bunch of people thought like, oh, he named it after himself. I don't know if he named the characters though. I didn't see that part of them.
I don't know.
So
but it doesn't surprise me that he's not working on the. Hi, cat. Yes, my cat says the podcast is over. So but I don't remember. He's never gonna finish that. We've said that many times.
He's going to end up just like it's just going to be like the Wheel of Time. Someone else is going to come in and have to finish it. And the problem is that I don't know if he said that he doesn't have notes. He did give verbally, and he wrote down some things for the showrunners for Game of Thrones, but he doesn't have like a Google Doc that I'm sure like Sanderson has, that if Sanderson gets hit by a bus, someone could look and go, okay, here's all the notes of what he was planning on doing. it's all in Martin's head, or it's typed into his MS DOS computer. So
yeah,
it's going to be rough if that happens, and it's probably what's going to happen. We don't wish ill on anyone, but
no, it's never gonna happen.
Come on, get a ghostwriter at this point. Get a ghostwriter. Do the James Patterson thing. You don't have to ghostwrite it. James Patterson gives outlines to writers and is like, "Go do your thing. Do that, and we can get this thing done." And then you can watch all the sports
show about it.
Yeah. Anyways, what's that?
I said I would. I'm sure there's some ego about it. Like, what if somebody writes it better?
Good. It'll be done, and you don't have to worry about it, and you get paid. You're coasting at this point. I'm again not wishing ill on anyone.
He already got paid, didn't he?
Yeah. He didn't get paid for these, but yeah, HBO paid him. So I'm saying, like, enjoy. We're not going to think less of you. Enjoy those years, and then you can go around and give go around to the convention circuit and talk about it and enjoy watching your sports games, because people get on to him about that. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the LANCave. Let us know what you think about George R.R. Martin not writing or writing the books. Do you think that someone needs to take it over for him? What do you think about Hogwarts Legacy? Do you think it's going to be as good as we hope, or do you still hate J.K. Rowling for obvious reasons? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time. Yeah, my dogs were barking too. I was trying to mute.
I don't know what he's doing.